I tried recording this, or pre-recording it is a bad word for it, on my camera app here on my cell phone. However, I was starting to lose storage, so that's why I came up on here live. I went on Twitch, the Twitch streaming app, this past Friday night because I was watching the all women's boxing event called Most Valuable Promotions on Netflix. And in the middle of that, I just decided to practice cutting a promo, and I just started talking about the different times in pro wrestling history. Now, when I do this, I want everybody who watches my podcast or listens to it on audio. And by the way, I'm going to start adding these videos as an audio podcast on Spotify for podcasters. Please follow me on that if you like just the traditional audio podcast. So, what I wanted to say was, I want to practice cutting that promo here. Before I start, I just want everybody to know anything negative I say is not a knock on the fans or the stars that I grew up watching. It's not a knock on them. It's a knock on it's just my personal preference of wrestling I'm referring to. And no, I would never try to tell somebody what to watch or what not to watch. I believe everybody has the freedom in this country to do what they feel they should do, the way they should do it. So I believe in free choice. So if you were for the Attitude Era, then I cannot come against you, because some people say that wrestling itself, even before Attitude Era, was terrible. So I'm not going to criticize y'all for liking the Attitude Era, because we all have our personal preferences. But when I do cut this type of promo, please remember in the back of y'all's mind that this is just me doing practice character talk for when I'm able to start doing something in wrestling and finding a foot in the door for my entry into the business. This is how I would talk. Hello, this is Asher Daniel. For years, I've been hearing people talk about the Attitude Era, whereas it was a big time for the business. As a wrestling purist myself, it was thank you to the 8 people that are watching my video live here on YouTube. Hi, Tegan Crutcher. I don't very fast, so that's why I say hi here on YouTube video. Okay, so let me continue. Whereas that was a big time, it was also the day that pro wrestling lost its identity as a, because as a result of the Attitude Era, after WCW went out of business, you only. Thank you, Aiden Santiago. You are a top fan. Okay. Um, I have a Patreon channel. Thank you for subscribing. Hi, Bruce Mindiola, Mr. Santiago. If you go to my Patreon page and you look up, I believe you can look up the Daniel Veillon Gazette pod on Patreon. I oh well, since you asked me here on YouTube, I'll tell you $5. I don't I don't want people to spend too much if I know how hard it can be to get. I know how hard it can be to make money, so I don't want people to spend too much. So $5 is how much I ask people to pay on Patreon to watch extra videos, and oh, ooh, I'm glad you asked. 'Cause I thought I made it easier for y'all to pay. Then I don't know how you can do that at the moment. I have to look at the Patreon website. Okay. Okay, I'm logging into my Patreon account here on my phone. Let me see if I have the right account. Okay. Okay, I'm signing into my Gmail account. Okay. 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 Um, Mr. Santiago, that's very generous of you. I'm not going to hi, Mr. Santiago. I'm not going to disclose how much you offered, but it's very generous of you. But I think $5 is enough. Thank you. Okay. At the moment, Mr. Santiago, only the only thing I do right now is podcasting because I'm disabled. So what I'm doing right now here on this YouTube video is it's about the no, I don't have to go to the hospital. Thank you for asking though. However, I am looking. Oh, I'm disabled, Mr. Santiago, because I I have a problem avoiding things. Hmm? It's on YouTube. Okay. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Bye.
I would like to cancel an application that I have already submitted. Yes. No.
What I was going to talk about is people who are interested. Somebody asked me a question in the living room. Somebody, for people who are interested in doing online pro wrestling training, is just a foundational tool. I would suggest going to Wrestling Academy because what he taught me for almost 2 months helped me understand the art of wrestling a little bit better. I start realizing how whereas not everything they do in the WWE makes sense. A lot of what they do is the right way of doing it. And he taught me four elements: the shine, the comeback, the heat, and the cutoff. And I could see that be utilized 2 or 3 times this past Saturday, SNME. I thought it was interesting how they used Logan Paul and the Jelly Roll in the corner of Randy Orton and McIntyre, and I liked how they set up McIntyre and Paul against Orton and Jelly Roll at SummerSlam. Let's not forget SummerSlam was also where actor Stephen Amell took part in a tag team match, who, by the way, is a big fan of pro wrestling and stars in an HBO series called Hills. So that's not really a surprise looking back at it. And when you look at pro wrestling itself, it is acting. When you watch TV shows and movies, you can see so much of what we see on TV and in theaters is a lot like watching wrestling. A lot of the same elements are used because it's storytelling. And I was talking earlier about why I believe wrestling lost its identity in the Attitude Era. We used to be able not only to watch pro wrestling in front of kids, but you used to be able to define what a hero and a villain is. Now it's like there is no hero or villain. You literally, a lot of times, you have to guess who the hero and villain is. And there's a time you used to just know by watching it. So that's why I personally prefer when I go to an event as a fan, I personally prefer going to the local indie events because it's easy to see who a villain is and who a hero is. I'll have to look back. Peacock. Because I'm trying to remember all the matches they had. How they had to save a lot of matches for the famous Evolution pay-per-view 2. Second Evolution pay-per-view for women's. But they did the event long enough to where there's only an hour and 12 minutes left. Oh yeah. I liked on the US title match with between Jimmy Uso and his younger brother Solo. I could see how the importance of that the shine, the cutoff, comeback, the cutoff, and the heat. All four were utilized perfectly, I might add, in that match. Because the biggest heat part was when the newest member of Solo Sikoa's group, he decided he wanted to get physical, even though Jimmy was on the apron, and that's all it took. That was the only opening Solo needed to pull him in the ring with a roll up. What we used to call in the old days a schoolboy. And Solo would be he's the only one today, or one of the only ones today, that has a true heel factor to his character. He's the only one I can think of outside of Roman Reigns that has a true, and Seth Rollins too, by the way, that has a true villain aspect to his character. When he rolled him up, he was smart enough to do like that, and then his newest member, anybody who watched New Japan on Ring of Honor in the past, I don't know how many years now, would recognize him as being Hikuleo or Hikuleo. He added his leverage with his foot to against Solo's back to add to the 3 count. And even though we saw one of the Usos do that before, so it's not a new tactic, what it is it's genius, because the referee, he's supposed to keep his eyes on the ropes, the shoulders, everything in between. So when somebody's doing like that, you really can't see what's happening behind them. So that's why I think it's so genius, creatively speaking. Now, now, earlier I was asked about what work I do, because This is not sustainable a lot of times being a podcaster. To be honest with you, I don't really make money off of this anyway. But to answer your question, what I would like to do, what I plan on doing in the future is sitting with people, older people that have trouble moving around on their own. So I did that with my grandparents and I did that with my uncle and father. So that's what I plan on doing in the future for work. And I love to write. So I would like to write. I would like to write articles about my favorite thing, my favorite events in wrestling, because I've done that in the past, and that's always been fun to me. What I like in these events is when they show the modern and the not just the stars from the past, but the stars from the present day too. I like when they show them in the audience setting with the WWE universe. Yes, I live in America, Mr. Santiago. They're talking about the ring general Gunther going against Goldberg, which is the main event match of SNME. Okay. We talked about the US title match. So let me just continue with this. If people were to ask me, I would say that as far as what I want to do in the business, being a manager to me is so much more than being an extra on the show. It's about having the ability to be to be a main fixture in the show. It's about, okay, not be in the ring, but what your contribution is to the match itself, because you are talking on behalf of your client and you're talking the audience into coming to see your client. So that's why I see the manager role as being one of the best roles to go for if you want to have a job that you get booked every night of the week. Then I see being a manager as the perfect solution for that, because go out there, not only are you talking in front of an audience, but you're talking to them on behalf of your client. And when you look at the WWE landscape of today, you really do see how much, when Vince McMahon phased out traditional managers, he really did hurt the business, because when they were trying to first push Roman Reigns as a heel, not as a heel, but as a superstar on his own, that's when they should have turned him heel. But I do understand in hindsight how he may not have been ready for that. So I understand why they didn't turn him heel. But when superstar Billy Graham tweeted out that they should turn him into a heel and make him a heel. Make him both a champion and a heel at the time. That's how you know that phasing out traditional managers really hurt the business, because the only traditional manager they had was Heyman, who was already managing Brock Lesnar. They had managers outside of Heyman, that would have been a perfect solution. Because you had Arn Anderson as an agent, you had Michael Hayes as an agent, Dean Malenko as an agent, Fit Finlay as an agent. So you could have used any one of those guys to talk for somebody like Roman Reigns, and it would have worked, I believe. The only bad thing or negative thing. Oh, and by the way, Mr. Santiago, about your question about how much my bills pay, I'm not comfortable talking about that on here. Anyway, so when you look at the climate in pro wrestling, when you look at not just the climate, but I'm sorry, Bill Goldberg, this being his last match, regardless if he won the title or not. The way I looked at it, I was not so concerned about his age. I was concerned about how the reason I hoped this would be his last time is because not just because of his age, but because after a while, if he is not, if he's not finished, he's gonna cause the fans to turn against him, and that's not good for him or the company. That's why I hope this was his last match, because if you're not careful, you can cause. Oh, I didn't see this on SNME last night, but the Steiners were there too. However, the next match was Seth Rollins against LA Knight. When Seth Rollins hit the spring senton, and then the springboard moonsault, almost like the lion salt that Chris Jericho used to use in the WWE. But when he used that, he landed on his knee. I don't know how many people know this, but that caused real life injury. So when he decided to go through with the match and stand up, that's all it took for the match to be over. I'm glad they went with that, because it looked better to the story, that all it took was being in the perfect position for LA Knight's finisher for it to be over. And this reminds me of another thing that Dijak taught me and the other students in his class that I was in. If there's a part of the body that really got, quote, affected during a match or during an assault, if you focus in on that, what the Anderson used to call working a body part, if you focus in on that, that's what we call a thread. So the entire match, the thread that Seth Rollins used was LA Knight's, I think it may have been his left rib, because that was the part that was really weakened when he was assaulted by Rollins' associates Friday night. And speaking of thread,
location. I think it was last week sometime. And I wanted to know how people have done it.
Speaking of creating a threat or using a threat in a match, Goldberg's right knee was in a knee brace the whole match because he said he had a bad knee before the match even happened. So that became the biggest threat of the match also. And Gunther used it perfectly the whole match. And we talk about the heat. The biggest heat that he got on himself was him using the knee brace as a weapon against Goldberg. Then he even taunted his own son in the process. So that added fuel to the fire. So I'd say that too. I know I should not be surprised that I could see as a fan some of the intricacies being displayed, but because WWE hasn't had the best reputation for following those, what I've been taught by Mr. Dijak, that's why it's amazing because they haven't, because they, as many of y'all know, if y'all have watched the WWE, up until Triple H took full control of the company when Vince left because of legal problems. There's a lot of times when the matches just didn't make sense. And the things they did in the matches a lot of times didn't make sense. So that's why I say it's a lot better now because I can see how the matches are structured better and they're in the ring. When you notice more than once the things that you've been taught, I guess you could call it a formula that you've been taught that goes into making a match, then that's why it could be amazing because as a fan that they don't always do things according to the traditional formula of a match. That's why it's amazing to me. Gunther won the match by using that sleeper, which if he wins without a power bomb, he always goes for the sleeper. So that's been his finisher as of late. I will talk about the finish of the opening match of Evolution because it was a three-way. I believe, Bailey was trying to win with the roll-up, but then she got this. We're talking earlier about how smart, how almost genius some of these finishers can be. And I had never seen this. She grabbed Bailey by her shoulders and turned around on her to do the old school backslide for the victory. That was a great finish. Now, there could have been a thread created when she hit a T-bone suplex on... Hi, Mr. Santiago. There could have been a thread created when Becky Lynch hit that T-bone suplex called the Bexploder on Bailey into the barricade because she hit her previously injured knee that she had surgically repaired. So I thought that it would be interesting. So I thought maybe if you had Mr. Santiago, um, I don't think I should, don't think, um, I don't think I should, it would be wise to beg for anything because, and I'm not saying, I'm not, I'm not going to be arrogant about it. No, I don't beg for anything because I believe in earning the likes that I have. So no, I don't like to beg for likes and subs. And I offer it to see if people offer people to donate to my Patreon page because I want to see how interested people really are in what I say. But no, I don't beg for that because I don't want to be desperate. No offense to people who do beg.
I was asking if you were going over to lunch.
Um, but anyway, I'm gonna finish right here. Going back to what I was saying, I think that Becky Lynch or Lyra Valkyria could have turned that knee, that her knee getting hit in Bailey's knee getting hit into the barricade into a thread. I think that there's anything I think would have been better in that match would have been them not using her knee as a thread to work on in the match. Everything else was great, and I can't wait to see the rest. Thank you. And I don't. I'm sorry, Mr. Santiago. I haven't been able to log into Patreon, but when I do, I'll come back on here and I'll let you know how to how to subscribe and donate. Thank you and goodbye.